Iowa is a national leader in several farm commodities, but collateral damage in the form of runoff-impaired waterways has spurred past legal actions designed to thwart pollution linked to agriculture. While ultimately dismissed, those moves have helped cultivate farm conservation awareness.
Because our lawsuit went away, the Raccoon River did not clean up. The Des Moines River did not clean up. There's still nutrient contamination that still needs to be addressed, and we want to have those conversations.
Ted Corrigan is current CEO and general manager of Des Moines Waterworks, which sued farm drainage districts upstream in 2015 over excess nitrates the utility must remove in order to deliver federally compliant clean drinking water.
We're never going to be off the river. We are always going to need direct surface water at Des Moines Waterworks, and so we are always going to fight for water quality.
Critics charge excess fertilizers and manure applied year over year at similar rates can build up during drought and flush out of fields with ever wetter spring rains.
This is a nitrate sensor.
The University of Iowa maintains a statewide network of roughly 70 stream bank monitoring sites. The real-time data helps chart progress toward the state's water quality objectives. Iowa adopted the nutrient reduction strategy in 2013, a voluntary open-ended approach to drop nitrogen and phosphorus loads by 45%. The program's own assessments found over 90% of the state's nutrient flows were generated through agriculture. Scientists have long tied farm pollutants in the Mississippi River watershed, where Iowa is grounded, to the Gulf of Mexico's seasonal low hypoxic zone.
As I always say, if you're going to have a voluntary strategy, you need to have volunteers.
Chris Jones is an outspoken research engineer and author of The Swine Republic, which rebukes what he describes as agriculture's status quo in Iowa. Jones says water quality challenges in the state are driven by agribusiness influence, vested political interests, and a combination of ubiquitous, highly efficient farm drainage tiling with relatively low conservation uptake.
There's no magic bullet here. We have a problem of scale. We're trying to farm every piece of farmable land pretty much in the state. We're trying to raise, 25 million hogs at any one time, and however many cattle, and 80 million laying chickens.
Researchers estimate some tens of billions of dollars could be required annually to adequately tackle the problem of flooding and water quality in Iowa's watersheds. Jones says that makes private landowner investment essential, but it remains elusive.
Can we ever get the water quality we want at the scale at which we're doing things right now? I would say no, we cannot.
As needed, Des Moines Waterworks employs their mammoth but aging nitrate removal facility, which costs around $10,000 per day to operate. Officials say it was fired up for 24 days last spring due to record rains, but dry weather had kept it offline for 5 years prior. Waterworks plans to continue proactively drilling riverside wells to mitigate future nutrient surges.
So incredibly grateful that everybody is here today.
Last year, the utility announced a groundbreaking partnership with Heartland Cooperative, along with state, county, and city authorities, to purchase a cover crop seeder and encourage more conservation efforts.
We see this single cover crop seeder as the beginning of a whole fleet of these across the state.
Corrigan says 2022 saw over 7,000 acres of cover crops planted across 10 counties in Waterworks watersheds, and state authorities seem interested and supportive.
We believe that that's the right way to approach these issues, is science-based practices and working together in partnership. And flat out, if you want to see improvement in the water, well, then you've got to see change on the landscape.
Water advocates would like to see more action and funding from the State House. Over a decade ago, Iowa voters approved a water quality amendment dependent on tax revenue, which has gone unfulfilled. Some legislators have claimed strides toward funding clean water initiatives, and a specifically designed tax package was introduced this year in the state Senate.
If we actually are going to make this in addition to current funding rather than replace current funding, it probably would have some legs and some strong support.
Every one of those categories will actually receive more money from what currently is being funded right now if this was to be implemented. Maybe not as proposed back then, but more money is still more money in the end.
Observers expect larger conservation efforts to languish, citing an ultimate lack of will to raise taxes this session. For Jones, strategies he says lack accountability are still not enough to move the needle, as rural influence can drown out urban concerns on this topic.
We really need to look at some common sense things. We farm right up to the stream banks all over Iowa. You know, why do we do that? You know, we need rules about, you know, what can be farmed and what the inputs should be and the amounts of inputs. If we want water quality, if that's our priority, we have to be able to talk about things like that.
For Market to Market, I'm Josh Buettner.